Hey everyone, happy spring. This is Telling Stories. I'm Christopher Schultz, your host for this episode. Take a moment, subscribe below if you haven't already. So, welcome to yet another episode. You've probably noticed what I'm wearing. It's my athletic gear. This morning I was out working out, my first outdoor run of the season. Just reminded that it's spring training right now in baseball, and of course, every time there's spring training, there's controversy. This year, it revolves around Goose Gossage. Goose Gossage, who has basically mounted a totally unsolicited and frankly unnecessary attack on one of baseball's superstars, Jose Bautista, with the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, what's he complaining about? That's an excellent question. It turns out that he's basically just a grumpy old man, and Joey Bats, with his celebrations and his emotion, seems to rub Gossage the wrong way. Basically, what Gossage was claiming is that in his day, they would have beamed him in the head with baseball, that he's a disgrace to all Latin American players for being an enthusiastic participant in the game, and that apparently all of the roughly 15 years that Bautista has been in the game, he has been a poor ambassador somehow. I don't know how this is possible. He's basically a national hero in two countries, the Dominican Republic and in Canada. But what I really want to focus on is this whole issue of using violence in the good old days, as though this was the best way to solve problems. I mean, we hear it all the time in sports. This happened when Adrian Peterson beat the hell out of his children to the point where they had scars on their genitals from how hard he was hitting them with a switch. And a variety of commentators basically said all the same things. They didn't agree that he committed that level of violence on them, but they were totally fine with the idea that violence was a way to solve whatever problems might be happening in somebody's life. Now, this has some overarching political concerns as well, because in case you didn't know, the same day that Goose Gossage was making his statements about Jose Bautista, there was a riot in Chicago, and that riot revolved around Donald Trump. And Donald Trump, I hate to talk about him again. I think this is my fourth video now talking about Trump, but I can't help it. He really needs to be denounced. This is a guy who has been inciting his followers to violence against anybody who disagrees with him. So the relationship between somebody like Goose Gossage complaining that the good old days are gone and Donald Trump complaining that the good old days are gone seems to revolve around this very singular idea that violence is a means of solving problems. So really this comes back to an issue of these very fragile men who can't handle having their authority questioned. I mean, that's really what's going on here. Goose Gossage saying that, you know, if somebody had hit a home run against him and had done a bat flip like Jose Bautista, the next inning he'd go out and he'd plunk him in the head. That is basically saying that you don't have enough sense of self or self-confidence to actually deal with the issues internally and come back a stronger and better person. If there is one certainty in life, it's that violence begets more violence. Even the Bible understands this, but the fact is that you cannot reconcile Trump's ideas with Gossage's ideas with any kind of sort of moral or ethical reasoning. And unfortunately, it has some very serious, broader societal ramifications. You only have to look at the mob response that Donald Trump has been inciting amongst his followers and the way that they have violently assaulted any number of protesters, and the calls for violence against those protesters and anybody like them is really quite shocking. So thanks for checking in. This has been Telling Stories, and I'm Christopher Schultz. Please subscribe below again, like I asked, and if you have anything to say about the program, please leave me a comment, and I'd be happy to respond to you. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you around.